Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're digging into something fascinating, the real habits of the wealthy. We've gone through all the research, talked to the experts to figure out what actually builds financial success. And you know what? Some of the answers, they're really gonna surprise you.
All right, let's just jump right in. When you hear the word millionaire, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's the flashy cars, the giant mansions, maybe that one lucky stock pick that changed everything overnight, right? Well, that's the image we're sold, but it turns out it's pretty much a myth.
The truth is, getting good with money, it has surprisingly little to do with how smart you are. It has everything to do with how you act. Financial author Morgan Housel put it best. It's not about being a genius with a complex spreadsheet. Nope. It's about how you handle things like greed and fear, and whether you can actually play the long game. And here's the absolute key. Real wealth isn't the stuff you see. It's hidden. It's that expensive car they didn't buy. It's the fancy jewelry they left in the store. It's passing on that first-class upgrade. You see, wealth is the money you keep, not the money you spend. So, with that in our heads, let's start tearing down some of these myths. Okay, let's start with the big one, the car. We're all conditioned to think that wealth looks like a Mercedes or a BMW, right? But the actual data, it tells a totally different story. The number one vehicle for people earning big money is, wait for it, the Ford F-150, a pickup truck. And brands like Toyota and Honda are right up there with it. And this is where it gets really crazy. That same research found that a whopping 86% of the people driving those prestigious luxury cars, they aren't millionaires, not even close. Those cars are just symbols. More often than not, they're a symbol of a high monthly payment, not a high net worth. And it's the exact same story with housing. You know that image of the sprawling mega mansion? Mostly a fantasy. The data shows that 6 out of every 10 millionaires live in pretty normal houses worth less than 500 grand. They're way more focused on building their wealth than showing it off. So, okay, if they're not blowing all their money on flashy cars and giant houses, what are they doing? What are the actual day-to-day habits that build that wealth and make it last? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, rule number 1, they stay away from consumer debt like it's the plague. Seriously. One study found that almost 3/4 of millionaires have never carried a credit card balance. Not once. Now, think about that compared to the rest of the country, where over half of all active credit card accounts are carrying debt month to month. It's a massive difference. But, and this is important, they aren't totally against all debt. They just use smart debt. Warren Buffett, you may have heard of him, he calls the 30-year fixed mortgage the best instrument in the world. And you gotta ask, why? Well, it's simple. The interest rate is usually pretty low, and you can always refinance if rates go down. It's a type of debt that can actually work for you instead of the other way around. This whole idea of stability, it shows up in how they manage their assets too. A lot of millionaires keep a huge chunk of their money, we're talking like 25%, in cash, just sitting there. It's a massive emergency fund, it's a buffer, so when life happens, a surprise expense or a job loss, they don't have to panic sell their investments or rack up credit card debt. They're prepared. All right, let's talk taxes. They're incredibly smart about this. The top income tax rate in the US is 37%, but the wealthiest people, they often pay way, way less. How do they pull that off? Well, they're maxing out their retirement accounts. They're getting a lot of their money from investments, which are taxed at a much lower rate called capital gains, and they're using all the tax breaks that come with owning a business. But look, these financial tactics, they don't just happen on their own. Building wealth isn't all about spreadsheets and tax laws. It's propped up by a whole set of lifestyle habits that make it all possible. There's this great piece of research called the Rich Habits Study, and it found something amazing. Wealthy people are obsessive about their health. The vast majority of them exercise every day. They make sure to get at least 7 hours of sleep, and they're up early, starting their day on their own terms. It's because they get it. Their health and their time, those are their most precious assets. And another thing that just keeps popping up is this habit of constantly learning. I mean, Warren Buffett, he famously says he spends something like 80% of his day just reading. Reading. They understand that knowledge is like money. It compounds. The more you learn, the more you can earn. It's the ultimate investment in yourself. So, okay, we've seen what they do. We see how they save, how they invest, how they live. But to really truly get it, we have to ask the big question. Why? What's the end game here? And I'll tell you right now, it is not what most people think. And this is the absolute heart of it all. The real driver isn't buying fancy stuff. It's freedom, autonomy. Charlie Munger, who was Buffett's partner for decades, just nailed it. He said, "I did not intend to get rich. I just wanted to get independent." That one word, independent, that changes the entire equation. When you think about it that way, it completely redefines the whole point of money. True wealth isn't about getting more things. It's about getting more options. It's the power to control your own schedule, your own life. It's being able to wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I can do whatever I want today. That right there, that's the best return money can ever give you.
So what can you actually do with all this? It really boils down to 3 big mindset shifts. First, stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Envy is the #1 enemy of building wealth. Second, become absolutely obsessed with your savings rate. It's more important than your income. And third, just be patient. You have to give your money time to grow. Let that magic of compounding do its thing.
Look, in the end, it all comes down to this one simple idea. When you shift your mindset away from buying stuff and toward buying independence, you change the entire game. The goal isn't a bigger house or faster car. The goal is more freedom. And so that leaves us with one final, really important question. What would you do with your freedom?